In the heart of the secluded countryside lies a small, forgotten town, and within it, a legend whispered in fearful tones, the tale of the macabre elm. This towering behemoth of a tree stood sentinel near the town's edge, a gnarled monstrosity that locals avoided, steeped in dark lore and chilling superstitions. As a writer seeking inspiration, I'd heard murmurs about the unspeakable horrors purportedly lurking within its twisted branches. Fascination and apprehension coiled within me, and I resolved to unravel the secrets of the macabre elm, to transform its mysteries into a gripping tale. On a mist-laden evening, I ventured toward the edge of town, guided by an inexplicable pull. The air grew chillier as I approached, and the moon cast an eerie pallor upon the land, illuminating the sinister silhouette of the tree. The branches, like contorted fingers, clawed at the sky, casting ominous shadows that danced at my feet. A sense of foreboding tightened my chest, but a force stronger than fear urged me closer. The whispers of the night seemed to beckon, and against my better judgment, I succumbed to the tree's allure. As I approached, the air thickened with an oppressive energy. The gnarled bark of the macabre elm bore grotesque carvings, etchings of faces contorted in perpetual agony. Their eyes seemed to follow my every move, sending shivers down my spine. As I reached out to touch the bark, a bone-chilling wind surged, and the tree seemed to groan in protest, its ancient core resonating with a dreadful power. A hollow thud echoed through the night, and the ground quaked beneath me. In sheer horror, I watched as the tree's trunk split open, revealing a dark, gaping cavity within. A ghastly, putrid scent wafted out, and an oppressive silence descended, as if the forest itself held its breath. Despite the primal urge to flee, I was ensnared, as if the macabre elm had claimed ownership of my will. A disembodied voice resonated in my mind, a siren's call luring me to step into the gaping maw. With trepidation, I crossed the threshold into the tree's twisted heart. A sickly luminescence illuminated the interior, casting eerie shadows that writhed upon the walls. The air grew heavy with a nauseating scent of decay, and an overwhelming sense of malevolence pervaded the chamber. My every footfall echoed ominously, the pulsating walls seemingly alive with a sinister rhythm. Faces etched into the bark contorted and wailed, an unsettling chorus of silent agony that resonated through the chamber. As I ventured deeper, the chamber expanded, revealing a grotesque network of tunnels and chambers, like veins in a pulsing heart. The whispers grew louder, a symphony of torment that threatened my sanity. Shapes moved in the darkness, shadowy figures, neither alive nor dead, haunting specters trapped within the confines of the macabre elm. Their mournful wails reverberated, their formless apparitions beckoning me further into the abyss. I yearned to escape this macabre labyrinth, but the passage behind me had vanished, leaving me trapped within the malevolent embrace of the tree. Panic clawed at my mind, threatening to unravel my very essence as I grappled with the sinister forces that held me captive. Desperate, I delved deeper, seeking an exit from this nightmarish domain. Yet, with each step, the haunting faces carved into the walls seemed to multiply, their agony etched into the very fibers of the tree's ancient core. As the torment within me reached its crescendo, a chilling wail pierced the air. The chamber convulsed, and a vortex of swirling darkness enveloped me. I screamed, the sound lost in the cacophony of the spectral chorus. When the void subsided, I found myself on the outskirts of the town, shaken and disoriented. The night had granted me an escape, but the horror of the macabre elm lingered, etched into the recesses of my mind. I stumbled back to civilization, haunted by the harrowing ordeal. The townsfolk spoke in hushed tones of the cursed tree, warning of its insidious nature. But what they couldn't comprehend was that a part of me remained ensnared within the haunted confines of the macabre elm, a haunting reminder of the unspeakable terror that lurks within its ancient roots. The towering pines of Blackwood Forest stood silent and watchful, concealing secrets within their ancient boughs. As a photographer fascinated by the eerie beauty of nature, I found myself drawn to this particular forest. I longed to capture the haunting allure of these trees that held tales of their own. Little did I know that within Blackwood Forest lay a terror that defied imagination. Armed with my camera and an insatiable curiosity, I ventured deep into the heart of the forest, seeking the perfect shot. The dense canopy blocked out the sun, casting an eerie twilight over the woods. Shadows danced at the periphery of my vision, playing tricks on my senses, yet I pressed on. That's when I stumbled upon it, a colossal tree, distinct from its brethren, its twisted branches casting twisted silhouettes against the dim light. It stood like a guardian of the forest, its bark weathered and scarred, as though bearing witness to centuries of untold stories. As I focused my lens on the tree, a strange sensation overcame me. A chill ran down my spine, and I felt a presence, an unsettling energy radiating from the ancient giant. I hesitated, but the allure of capturing its haunting essence spurred me on. As I framed the shot, the forest fell into an unnatural silence. No rustle of leaves, no distant bird call. It was as if the world held its breath, anticipating something malevolent. Suddenly, a soft, melodic hum broke the silence. It seemed to emanate from the tree itself, a haunting tune that stirred a primal fear within me. The hum grew louder, resonating with an otherworldly cadence. My heart pounded in my chest as the melody wrapped around me, ensnaring my senses. In a daze, I realized the tree was changing. Its branches twisted and contorted, as if reaching out to me. The bark rippled and shifted, forming grotesque faces that morphed and twisted in an eerie dance. The tree seemed alive, pulsating with an otherworldly energy. I stumbled backward, my breaths coming in ragged gasps. Panic gripped me, but a strange force held me in place, compelling me to witness this surreal spectacle. I felt as though the tree demanded something from me, a twisted pact forged in the whispers of the wind. My mind reeled with terror as the haunting melody grew louder, its enchanting yet malevolent notes carving into my very being. It was as though the tree sought to claim not just my presence but my essence, luring me into a realm beyond comprehension. In a desperate attempt to break free from its ominous pull, I turned to flee, but the forest had changed. The once familiar path now twisted and turned in on itself, an inescapable labyrinth of trees that all bore the same haunting semblance as the giant tree. No matter which direction I ran, I found myself back in front of the towering horror. The forest had entrapped me within its malevolent embrace, a prisoner to the ancient tree's sinister machinations. The faces carved into the bark contorted, their expressions shifting from eerie grins to agonizing screams. Each one seemed to tell a tale of suffering, of souls lost to the dark depths of the forest. I was certain I would join them, an eternal captive of this arboreal terror. Desperation consumed me, and in a final act of defiance, I aimed my camera at the monstrous tree. The lens captured the twisted faces, immortalizing the horror within the forest. As I took the shot, a blinding flash erupted, illuminating the entire woodland. When the light faded, I found myself standing at the forest's edge, my heart racing with a mixture of relief and terror. Looking down at my camera, I scrolled through the pictures, but there were no images of the monstrous tree, no evidence of the nightmare I had endured. Shaken and bewildered, I stumbled out of the forest, vowing never to return. But to this day, the haunting melody of that tree echoes in my dreams, a reminder of the lurking horror that resides within the ancient woods of Blackwood Forest, a malevolent force that hungers for unsuspecting souls, ready to ensnare any who dare to venture too close. The old oak tree stood at the heart of our small town, a colossal presence that seemed to watch over us like a silent guardian. But as much as it was revered for its age and grandeur, it held a haunting reputation among the locals. Some whispered about the spirits that resided within its massive trunk, claiming the tree was a vessel for malevolent entities that had haunted the town for generations. I had always been fascinated by the stories surrounding the tree, but I never gave them much credence until the events of one ominous summer. It was a sweltering August night when a group of friends and I decided to gather around the massive oak for a midnight campfire. We laughed and swapped stories, the flames casting dancing shadows upon the gnarled bark of the tree. As the night grew deeper, a sense of unease settled over us. The air turned chilly, despite the lingering heat, and an eerie hush enveloped the clearing. One of my friends, Sarah, abruptly stopped mid-story, her gaze fixed on the towering tree. We followed her line of sight and noticed a strange, pulsating glow emanating from a hollow in the oak's trunk. It seemed as if the tree itself held an otherworldly luminescence. A chill raced down my spine, and I hesitated, feeling an unspoken warning in the air. But the allure of the mystery was too strong, and curiosity won over caution. Ignoring the lingering unease, we approached the tree, drawn to the hypnotic glow. The hollow of the tree emitted an otherworldly hum, like a whispered invitation to another realm. Sarah, being the most daring among us, cautiously reached out toward the luminous cavity. As her fingertips made contact, a surge of energy coursed through the air, crackling with an indescribable force. Suddenly, the world seemed to shift. The air thickened, the trees rustling turning into an ominous chorus. Shadows contorted into grotesque shapes, twisting and writhing at the periphery of our vision. Our surroundings warped, and a sense of impending doom crept over us. The glow intensified, casting an unearthly light that pierced the darkness. It illuminated the forest, revealing spectral figures that materialized around us. The figures appeared as silhouettes at first, but soon their features took form, revealing twisted faces frozen in expressions of torment and rage. Panic seized us, our hearts racing as the figures closed in, their spectral hands outstretched. Their unearthly whispers filled the air, echoing tales of agony and despair. Driven by primal fear, we made a frantic attempt to flee, but it was as if the world had twisted upon itself. The forest seemed to have morphed, the trees contorting into grotesque shapes that blocked our escape routes. We were trapped in a nightmarish reality, surrounded by the haunting entities that had emerged from the heart of the tree. Desperation set in, and we stumbled, disoriented, trying to find a way out of the macabre nightmare that had engulfed us. As the figures drew nearer, their ghostly fingers grazing our skin, a surge of energy pulsed through the air. Sarah, with a look of sheer terror, grabbed my hand, and with a final burst of adrenaline, we both lunged backward, breaking the threshold of the pulsating glow. Suddenly, the world snapped back into place. The forest returned to its familiar form, the spectral figures dissolving into wisps of mist. We found ourselves sprawled on the ground, breathing heavily, the glow in the trees hollow now dim and benign. Shaken to our cores, we staggered away from the oak, our minds reeling from the harrowing experience. The mysteries of the big tree that had once enchanted me now held a sinister truth that I couldn't comprehend. The events of that night lingered as a haunting memory, a reminder that some legends, no matter how fantastical they seem, may contain a chilling truth. The big tree, once a symbol of strength and endurance, had unveiled horrors that lurked within its ancient heart, horrors that our human minds could scarcely fathom.